This is a meal that is so dangerous, so toxic, yet a lot of people are consuming this meal and they have no idea how dangerous it is. As I go through these toxicities, let's see if you can guess what this meal is. First one is a byproduct that occurs when you cook or char or smoke something. You're heating with high temperatures. You're creating these chemical compounds called PAHs. And so when you char something or smoke something, which then has the potential to alter or change or mutate your DNA and trigger cancer of the stomach and especially of the colon. That's chemical number one. Number two, when you combine sugar with protein, you create something called AGEs. Now we have these sticky proteins, as in barbecue, when you're taking the sauce and the meat and combining them, putting them together. I mean, have you ever read the ingredients in barbecue sauce? High fructose corn syrup, more sugar. It's crazy. What does that do to your body? Well, it creates advanced aging of your tissues. It puts your body in a state of inflammation, diabetes, Alzheimer's, chronic disease. Number three, sodium nitrate. You see it in a lot of processed meats, especially bacon. They put it in ham. They put it in a lot of different meats. The problem is when you heat it up and cook it, it turns into a carcinogen. And that is something that can trigger cancer. You would see this in sausages, bacon, processed meat, and something called cured brisket. Next thing we're going to talk about is this right here. Roundup Ready weed killer in your food. And you're probably saying, well, wait a second. There's no weed killer in my food. Well, there may be a residue from GMO food. Anything soy, corn, canola, cottonseed oil. Not only that, even things that are not genetically modified, like wheat, potentially could end up in your bread. In fact, one report showed that they used 3 times as much weed killer, glyphosate, on wheat than they do soy and corn. And so if you're consuming anything with wheat, like bread, pasta, cereal, crackers, potentially you can have residues of this glyphosate, which is also considered a carcinogen by the World Health Organization. And it's not just in bread, it's in cornbread. I mean, if you looked at the ingredients of cornbread, you have high fructose corn syrup in there, cornmeal, and probably some wheat gluten and beet sugar. And there can also be residues on your tortilla chips because those are corn chips. And what do they fry the corn chips in? There's soy oil or corn oil. Both of them are GMO. On top of that, they put a lot of this high fructose corn syrup in this barbecue sauce. Glyphosate is linked to cancer, and also it disrupts the microbiome because one of the patents they got on glyphosate has an effect of an antibiotic in your gut, which is also not healthy. This next ingredient is a byproduct of caramel coloring, especially in barbecue sauces, in sodas. This is a carcinogenic byproduct. It's 4-MEI. And especially even when they marinate the meat, you could also have this ingredient in there as well. Number 6, aluminum. The problem with aluminum is it can leach out and go into the brain, and it can increase your risk for Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative diseases. How could you potentially get aluminum toxicity? Well, sometimes when you're smoking meat, you put it in aluminum, okay, and then you put it under heat, so it's cooking. Or even when you take the meat off the grill, you put it in aluminum to store it in the fridge. There's aluminum cans in certain colas. Now we have this acidic cola acting on the aluminum. And they also put all sorts of aluminum chemicals that end up in your bread as well. Don't worry, it gets a little bit worse. There's one more chemical I want to talk about, and that is potassium bromate. This is usually in your barbecue sauce. It's in flour products to make the bread fluffier, but it's been banned in 60 countries. But of course, it's not banned in the US. Now that you know the 7 toxic compounds, can you take a wild guess what meal I'm going to describe? Well, it's going to be a meal made up with barbecued meat or any other type of barbecued meat with the sauce that's been on the grill, usually in tinfoil, with the nitrates, etc. And maybe it's meat that's been wrapped with a bun or an added piece of bread or some cornbread on the side, which is very common, with your cola drink, usually in a can, but the plastic doesn't help either because of the forever chemicals. Our brains are accumulating plastic more than ever nowadays. And of course, a lot of times this meal is served on styrofoam plates, which can then, due to the heat on the plastic, give you some additional plastic compounds that you're consuming with the meal. Now that you know that meal, I know some of you are going to comment, oh, great, Dr. Berg, here's another thing I can't eat. Well, listen, I do a lot of videos on what you can eat. And if you want to know what you can eat that will make you very healthy, and that is not toxic at all, you might want to watch this video right here.